organizations that's supposed to help you. And sometimes it can make you frustrated and you feel like you're not being a good mom because they're saying that breast milk is very important, but you're not doing, you can, you feel like you're inadequate because you're not even able to give that basic thing to your child. And you think on all the other illnesses that come that may result from the new studies now that say if you don't breastfeed, they have a higher chance of being this, they have a chance of being infection. So you think about that, and that makes you guilty even from the beginning. And then you have to worry about all the emotions that come with breast, with postpartum and all that after giving birth. So just alone, that's it just starts from that early stage. Okay, so one would be breastfeeding. Two would be being a working mom. Again, like I said, there are days where you have to go to work and the kids don't understand. I mean, you live in a place where both parents have to work. Some people are single moms that they have to work. So you say, okay, I feel guilty, I have to go to work, but you have to go to work to put food on the table and to do things and pay the bills and do the things that you have to do. Even if your husband's working, and sometimes you go to school as a girl and young girl, you go to school doesn't mean, go to school and get all that education to stay home. Now, some people, there's nothing wrong with. Some people can afford to stay home. Some people choose to stay home. So when this is article and this topic is not about pitting one mom against the other one, but people feel guilty, and some people make you feel guilty that you have to go to work, leaving your child in daycare. Especially when they're 12 weeks old, and you worry about everything that could happen to this child because the child cannot speak, and you have to suffer about even during the weekends. If you're like mom, let's say you're in healthcare and you have to work on the weekend, you have to worry about leaving your child somewhere else on Christmas breaks and all that. I remember one year my daughter, she was very young, and she's like, "Oh, mom, guess what? Christmas Day." And she goes, "Oh, I prayed, and all that, and God and give you off on Christmas Day so you can spend Christmas Day with us." And I felt so guilty, and I'm like, "Oh my God, please don't pray again next year because next year, I work every other weekend, so I don't know if you're praying again next year. That may not happen." And for us who used to do 12-hour shift, if you work on holiday, any holiday, if you do 12-hour shift, especially if you work 7 a to 7 p, you come home, everything's done. Nothing. Weekends and the kids have to go to their different activities and all. You can't do it. You have to get somebody babysitter, an older sibling, a family member, or your husband, or another family, or another family member to take your child to stuff. So you can't do that. So you feel guilty anyways. I remember one time I used to come home to, and I went to pick my daughter up from school when I worked 7 to 3. And she was like, everybody's hugging their parents and all that. And she's like, "Don't hug my mom. She's dirty." Like, oh jeez, because I used to be in my uniform. So I used to thinking, all these kids are running to their parents, and me, I'm always in my uniform. On days I was off, it was good. But it's like, it's like, don't say it like that, honey. So it's like just many things little things that people don't, that come across that, you sit here, you be like, it can be little things like that, but it means a lot. And you feel guilty about doing this. And you say, okay, wait a second, I'm supposed to be a good mom. I'm supposed to be able to work and do everything. And as society expects you to be able to do all those things 100%. And of course, that leaves a lot of people, especially if you're a younger mom, you feel really guilty. Even older mom, you feel guilty too. Okay, and you see all these different TV shows growing up where, oh, mom, you weren't there when I needed you, and you weren't this when I had this special dance, and you weren't this when I had this recital, and you weren't there. And it's like, I'm not the kind of mom who can just afford to stay home and let you do that. Okay, so also, you can say being bored. Sometimes when you feel guilty being bored, you say, "Oh, if I'm doing that, why I feel I'm just being bored. I'm sitting, I'm not taking care of my kids, and something else." And it's like it's okay to feel bored. Okay, your kids can run around, do things, and you can give them attention and all that. Doesn't mean because you're a mother, so you always have to be on the go because you're not doing something right now. People say, "Oh, you're sitting home." Even sometimes when you're sitting there, I'll see these little memes on Facebook where, "Oh my gosh, she's watching TV, or she's on Facebook, or she's doing this, or she's in social media, and she's not watching her kids." Well, for the 2 seconds that I'm on Facebook, or the 2 through 3 minutes, or even an hour if I'm on Facebook or doing social media, doing adult things, that doesn't mean my child is not being taken care of. I'm entitled to have some free time to myself too. Okay. And the other one, giving them too much screen time. Some people feel bad too, like, oh, if I left my child and watch TV too long, if I let my child be on the video game too long, that means I'm not doing something with them. You don't always have to be 100% all the time with them. They can sit there and watch TV. They're not going to die. Okay, as long as you're regulating what they're watching and all that, and little time here and there, 1 hour during the day, and as they get older, you can regulate it less, and you teach them those things as they're growing up, so they'll be able to regulate it as they grow older. You don't have to feel so guilty that you have to be doing something with them all hours of the day. Right. And asking for help, you know They say it takes a village to raise a kid. Don't think that you can do it all or you want to be superwoman. I can do this. And I hear people say, oh, nobody helped me and I raised my kids. And you don't have to, especially if you have good people in your corner. If you have strong set of people in your corner, you shouldn't be struggling to do everything by yourself. Get help. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, and he does just judgy family members. You know those family members where, oh, you're not fixing the girl's hair this way. Oh, you're not fixing, even sometimes not even family members. Sometimes it could just be friends. Oh, you're not doing this and you're not raising, and my I don't do that. My kids, I make sure my kids don't eat anything that's prepared in the store. I cook my kids meal from the very beginning. And then when you go to a Christmas party or you go to holiday parties and holiday events with the family members, and you have to listen to your sister-in-law say they, or your brother-in-law says that, or your mother-in-law, or this person, and this the judgy family members, all of that can make you feel guilty because he'd be like, oh, they'll be like, oh, I could, I did my daughter's hair, and oh, also you just did her hair like that, huh? So you think that, and just little snarl remarks, all those things makes you, it's already like stressful during that time of the year, and then you have to put up with that. So then you have to like arm yourself. Okay, I'm going to go to this party with the family member this year. I'm going to be able to say this. I'm going to be able to say that, and I'm not going to let it get to me. And you know it's going to get to you eventually. You know it's going to get to you either way. So you have to arm yourself. And after a while, you start saying, I'm not going to go to these things because what fun is it if I'm going to go and people are going to be saying those things to me? So no, I'm good. Let them stay over there. I'm going to hang around with people who I want to hang around with. Okay. So there are things, so some of the signs and symptoms of that. Let me see there. Okay. Go in there. Losing your temper can be the comparison to you talking about comparison. Oh, it's always like that. Okay, Billy Bob is doing. I was saying Billy Bob. Sorry. This person's daughter is like, straight A student, and on Facebook too, people put their children they put the highlights of their children's lives. Nobody puts anything about anything that's wrong with their child. Nobody does that. Very rarely. Sometimes, even people think, oh, if you put that on there, people are going to say your child is not perfect. Or your child's got this problem. Or your child got that problem. I used to put stuff on Facebook too. It's like, and I put it there for people to understand that I'm putting it there not because I want to say this about my child and I say that about my child, but most of these things people inbox me and say that's very helpful because my child was going through this and I didn't know how to deal with it. And it's nice to know I'm not the only person out there. But it can help to compare because people put their children's their school, and it's like they have to put the whole report card. Oh, this is the school, and this is how much it is, and the teacher's name. And first of all, it's not the privacy issue. Okay, nobody has to know exactly your child's teacher's name and the class they're in and their homeroom and this and that. We believe you. If you say your child is straight A, we believe you. You don't have to prove everything by putting all their business out in the street. But it's hard not to see that comparison because if this person's daughter is like straight A, then my daughter has to be straight A. If this person excels at sports, then my daughter excels at sports. And if they don't, then I'm like, what's wrong with me as a mother? What am I doing wrong that my child is not the same as Annie's child or Martha's child or this and that? And every child has their own different gifts, and maybe your child's not interested in things like that. But even if they are, it's like, oh, okay, well, how come my child's not like that? And you start feeling guilty. So that weighs down on you. All right. So so that's some of the symptoms you say, okay, well, I see all that. So how do I know that I'm suffering from mom's guilt? Okay, let me see. So how does mom guilt show up? Okay, you start, like I said, low self-worth. You start telling yourself, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not a good enough mom, I'm not doing these things. And I felt myself going through that place to say, am I a good enough mom? I mean, because I'm working, I'm doing this. And especially when I was in school and going to work, it used to be like, I don't have, I tell my kids, I don't have time to hang out with you guys this weekend. You're gonna be okay. And it's a yes. And kids will always say yes. Sometimes they'll tell you, oh, I wish you were here this time, but they'll say yes, and they get used to it. And you feel bad. You say, okay, by the time I get out of school and by the time I'm done with this, would it be even want to be around me anymore? Because they've been so used to not being around me and me being studying and doing this and doing that. So all of that can affect your school. And so you feel a sense of on low self-worth. um, Inconsistent mental well-being. You start coming, you the guilt, the anxiety, the poor mental fitness, and you just want to do what you have to do, eat and go to bed, and do just like the minimum and go to bed because you're feeling so low already about it, and then your mental it takes over your mental health because you worry about it. Anxiety, depression, that takes a whole toll on you. Negative coping strategies. You start, if you find yourself overly indulging shopping to overly shopping to feel better. I mean, I'm a shopaholic, so that's totally different. um Frugal shopaholic. You're shopping, some people might turn to alcohol because that's one of the things, in medicine when we think about that. It's like you see this person is a nice suburban lady who is this and this, and then you find out that she's like coping on drugs or she's coping on alcohol. You don't, and as providers, we don't really, that's what we've been taught, like go deeper into it, because you don't expect these people who are like, oh, why Johnny's in soccer, this person's in this person in that, and they come to you and they're, you know, exhibiting different symptoms and all, and telling you this is hurting, that is hurting, and it could be just a sign of the fact that they're coping with some, with illicit drugs, or they're coping with other things to make them feel better, to make the pain go away, because this is their life, and they feel that, okay, I'm not doing something good enough for my kids to succeed, so I have to go through this, right? Trying to do it all. You know, those mothers out there, oh, that's okay. When they go to the PTA meeting or something, say that, oh, I'll bake, how many cupcakes I have to make? Oh, 55. Oh, sure, I can make 55 cupcakes. And don't worry about it. I'll pick up Johnny. I'll pick up Sue. I'll pick up this person. I'll pick up all these other people, and I'll do that. And I'll come when I clean up. And you're doing everything. It's like, stop. You can't do it all. I know you want to do, you feel guilty because you're not doing enough, or you don't feel you're not there, so you want to do it all. You can't do it all. And you go to this PTA meeting where you see the super mom, quote unquote super mom, and you think you want to be like her. And no, you can't do that. You cannot do it all. Just be who you are. Okay. And also spending time on social media too. Because you spend time on social media, you're gonna get more depressed with the mom's guilt, because you see people when they post their things on Facebook. It's like somebody, you read their captions and you're like, really, really, sure, you got the perfect husband, sure, you got the perfect kids, sure, you got the perfect, everything about them is perfect. So sometimes you just swap, try not to internalize it. You read it and you keep moving. Maybe they do have the perfect, so who knows? I don't let that bother you. Do you? Okay. So, what are some of the ways to overcome mom's guilt? Let me just give me 2 seconds here. So next time you find yourself going through this, and trust me, it doesn't mean it's gonna go away. It's just you just gonna learn how to manage it a little better. Take a deep breath. Okay, just be like, whew. Okay, just take a deep breath, breathe in. Like I always say, deep breath, and practice deep breathing. You breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. Like you breathe in nicely, and then you blow in a nice little feather way, and take several breaths and all that. Start thinking of different ways and all, and just by breathing that causes your heart rate to go down, blood pressure to go down and all, and you can sit there and you ever to evaluate things from afar. Because when you find yourself just keep going and going and going and not taking the time to just stop and breathe, that's not healthy. Okay, so just take your time, breathe, 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 breathe. All right. Identify the source. What is making you feel this way? Becoming, what is causing your guilt or shame? Becoming aware of the areas that you feel that the most mom guilt can help you take practical action to address it. Where do I feel guilty most of the time? When I go to the PTA meeting and I see Sandra with her perfect kids and doing this and all her different stores, is that what makes me more enraged? When I come on Facebook or any kind of social media and see all these perfect people with their perfect kids, where mom's my twins and she's this, and we're like in sync and this and that, are the places, or maybe when I'm at work and somebody says, oh, I can afford to take, oh, my son's birthday today, and I took the day off, I wasn't gonna come to work, and all those things, even at work too. When you is that the area, are those the area that you in your life, any area, identify those areas that's making you feel that way, and try to say, okay, I know when I come to this place, I'm sure this person is going to go on and on about how perfect your life is, or just the way to talk about it, and I'm just going to say, no, that's them. Do you? I'm just doing what I can do to make myself and my family healthy. I'm not going to be comparing myself to this and comparing myself to that and comparing to that. So identify those areas that really get to you, and then go on from there. Okay, show some self compassion. Like I always tell people, show yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. You're not going to be, everything is not going to be perfect all the time. And you're not going to, people are going to say, oh my God. And you're thinking about it. I remember one day when I took my son was about maybe 2 to 3, not 2 to 3 years old. He was in the second grade, and they had a mom's breakfast, mom's lunch, and they were reading. And I took some food. They said, bring some food. So I stopped at Wendy's and I took some food for him. And I did the kids' meal and I took some food for him and me. And we ate it. And he was done. And he's like, oh, mom, I'm so hungry. And I felt so bad because I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I could have brought him like a bigger meal. I could have gone to McDonald's instead. Instead, I bought him this, and I felt so good. And that was a core memory that stayed with me from that day. And regardless of everything I was doing, I had been tired, and I took off that day to be there. I switched around my day with somebody else to be there, and I still walked away feeling inadequate, knowing that, thinking, Why didn't you bring enough food? I mean, and then I was thinking, I said, I could have just stopped and just say, let me go get some from the vending machine, or let me go, but that would have, we're only there for a short period of time. So all of that. And I thought about that over. I said, did I stay with him, or is just me? Why am I so hard on myself? Why? And I thought about that. And I'm sure most of you out there have gone through issues, incidents where it's like, if I could just have done that differently, if I can just do this, if I did, and it's like, breathe, breathe. It's not like this that you left him somewhere where he was abused. It's not like this that you did him somewhere, you did something to him that was irreversible or that affected his health. It's just something that, okay, fine. I'm sure he doesn't remember it. Maybe he does. And I pray, I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't remember it, So it's like, just give yourself some compassion, okay? You're not a perfect woman. This is superwoman and super mom, and sometimes I think that too. I said, when these kids are having big thing for their parents, and they say how their mother was this perfect and that, I said, will my children ever say that about me? But I'm like, you know what? I'm not perfect. And if they don't say that, I'm okay with it. Okay. Some people who are like, their parents are like next to Mother Mary. Okay, that's fine. Don't think that. Don't even, and they don't say that about you, just as long as you're doing your best and you're making sure when you short your shortcomings and addressing them. Okay. Other ways you can do that: challenge the negative beliefs. Once you identify those beliefs that trigger your mom, give the next step is to change them. So you say, okay, again, like I said, once you have to identify those places and those incidences that make it to where you're feeling that way, say, okay, now what can I do about it? Go to somewhere. Sometimes I used to feel, I say, oh my God, I can't dress this way. I'm a mom now. Especially when I first became a mother in my early in my 20s, and how I can do this different thing, and this other mother does look this way, and this other mother, and I can't dance this way, and I can. And after a while, it's like, you know what? You're still in your 20s, and even if you're in your where I'm not, you're older, and you can still do those things. Let other people, don't people know to do it, fine. Are you hurting anybody? No, you're just having fun and living life. Doesn't say because you're a mother so you stop being a woman, you stop being a person. You can still enjoy life. Some people tell you, oh no, this one, oh, she's the mother of this, and she did. No, you're not doing anything. You're not walking around all flashy and doing anything that's vulgar. You're just being a person. Don't forget who you are simply because you're a mother. Okay. And prioritize self-care. Like I said, I'm a shopaholic. I love going shopping. I love getting my hair done. I love doing things and playing music, dancing, going to celebrations, celebrating with other people. Do things that make you feel good. If you want to go for a manicure or a pedicure, I know people's like, oh, what time do you have to do that? I mean, when I have my kids, I'm so busy with this and I'm this, I'm so, well, that's you. And I used to think that way too. What time do I have to be wearing such a pretty clothes? What time do I have to be getting pedicure? What time do I have to get massages and all this different thing? I'm just busy. If I even have like two, I get some parents, oh, I even have enough time to get up in the morning and brush my teeth and wash my face and just throw something on and get in. But look at you. You come to just this thing and you look so nice. And what time do you have to do all that? And there were times I used to sit there and be like, oh yeah. Well, wait a second. Is that, and after a while, I said, no. If you don't have enough time to get up and fix yourself up or do anything, if you don't want to put makeup on, that's your problem. If you don't want to put earrings on, if you want to come in the street looking whatever way you want to come to, that's you. Before I leave my house, if I have to wake up 2 more minutes, my kids are older now, I can do that. Even when they're younger, I want to look presentable. I'm not going to come to the market looking like I just came off the runway, but I'm not going to be coming in the street to prove that I'm a good mother, to be looking all raggedy, to say, oh God, my kids are doing this to me and I don't have time. So this is the reason why I'm looking this way. No, because you can still look good and still look that way. And but if that's you, that's you. But don't come at me telling me that I'm not supposed to be this way because my I don't have enough time to spend with my kids. That's the reason why I have time to put makeup on. I have time to do this. No, none of that. No, let that go. Just do you. Okay. And listen to your intuition, like I said. And mom's intuition is very fine tuned, making sure your kids are fine. If you're working from home, find time to arrange time. If your mother who works from home, also if your mother at home mother, stay at home mom, and all that. Like again, I said, this pressure is also still there. The stress is also still there because they could say, "Oh, you sit at home all day. What time do you have? You don't have time to fix yourself up before coming to a PTA meeting. You don't have time to fix yourself up before coming to brunch or this and that. Come on now, what are you doing all day that you're at home?" So the pressure is still there for both people. They're just different when you add that, and I mean, how many of people can afford like maids and all that to take care of their kids while they're doing everything? So just say to them like, no, that's me. Okay. And surround yourself with supportive and positive people. like I said, make sure you have a really good self support system. The people who think like you, don't have people around you who are gonna be making you shame and feeling guilty and thinking that, okay, when I tell you we're going for a girls' night, let's go for a girls' date, and you're saying, oh no, I can't do that because no, or this one, no, hang around with people who have the same kind of things that you, and even if you can go out for whole weekend away, because some people say, oh, let's go away for the weekend. Oh, you can go to the weekend, or no. No, okay, I can go away for the weekend. Find friends who can say, okay, we can go out for a couple of hours. Bring your kids. Bring your kids. Like sometimes, I have my friend who she's got a really young my daughter. So I'm like, let's go hang out somewhere where the child can run around. Even when my kids were younger, I said I hang out with my cousins or my friends. I said, bring this, go somewhere where the kids can run around, and then we can still have a good time. As the kids got older, then we can start finding ways where the kids don't have to be there, or the kids can be somewhere else with their husbands or hanging out somewhere else, and then we can go and have like a regular girls' dinner and have fun and just laugh and play and have a good time. Okay, we don't always have to be connected and fettered to our children and feeling guilty because they're not there. So you can adjust your lifestyle as you go along with the kids as they get older. And like I said, take some time off, go for some vacation. Sometimes, like I say, go for vacation, just relax yourself. And some days when your days off, you don't have to be running around with the kids. You can say, today's my day off. I used to be like when I worked 7 to 3, 7 to 7, we have 2 to 3 days off. One day was always spent just laying on the couch. And the only thing that I really had to do was like maybe prepare food. My husband used to prepare food at the same time, and the dog, because my kids were older now, they could do anything. I used to have to get up. The dog would be looking at me like, okay, you know, hello, I know you're off and I know the kids are grown, but I'm still a dog and I'm still a baby. So you got to get up and take me outside. You got to do this, you got to do that. So it was like, as the time changes, your life changes too. So get up, take some time off, relax yourself, do things that make you feel better. Okay, and if you find yourself really and coming down with all of this, please seek help. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. Talk to your personal care provider, and then get it and refer to go see mental health and talk to somebody. Talk if you're in your church, religious group, and all. Make sure don't talk to those people who, like, especially when it comes to religious group or things like that. That's not going to say, well, you're a woman. That's the curse of a woman. The Bible says this, or this book says this. This book says no. Talk to somebody who really got and educated in counseling, and can go outside of the Bible and give you complete, even if they are including the Bible in their counseling or their religious book in the counseling, at least them, looking at the whole society, look as a whole, not saying this is the strict way I see it, and make you feel even more guilty. Don't do that. And if go join to different women's group, and again, when you get into those groups and all, and you see that this is not fulfilling, and this is not, they're telling you things that make you feel guilty. I'm not saying go to somewhere they're going to just tell you what you want to hear, but if they're making you feel guilty, go away. Find something else. You'd be like, maybe this is not where I need to be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a group. It could just be somebody else. Again, like a counselor who will be completely objective and go on from there. Okay. And they have life coaches. And finally, try some conscious parenting. Conscious parenting is a technique that encourages parents to use mindfulness and emotional intelligence instead of reactivity. It starts with becoming aware of your own thoughts, feelings, and behavior, and learning to manage them. When you manage your own feelings better, you're less likely to react in ways that lead to feelings of guilt, later on. Okay, so don't let mom guilt control your life and well-being. Feeling mom guilt from time to time is completely normal, and it's okay to experience as long as you have strategies to deal with them. Okay, so being a mom or dad, again, like I said, mom, dad can also go through that. It's one of the most rewarding yet challenging jobs in the world. And do everything, do all those different topics that I talk about, different techniques you can use to do that. So if you, again, most important thing, if you, especially like for those of you with younger kids, or just had a baby, you're having postpartum depression, please, 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 especially for that, get help. Get help, get professional help. You talk to somebody, get help. You feeling, especially when you're feeling like, okay, I want to harm myself, or I want to harm the baby and all, please call 911, get help. Outside of that, if you're feeling anything else, these are the strategies that I told you to go through that and try to get help, and don't let mom guilt get over you. Find other ways, again, like I went through that. If you have a chance, go back and read it, watch the video again and see that. So again, as mom, we have to go through all the different things that we have to go through, and especially when you're working mom, the pressure is even greater for you to be a perfect employee and then also be a perfect parent when you come home. And especially for single moms, you have to go through that. The stress is even more magnified when you're a single mother, because you have to play the role of the mom and the dad and everything else, and your kids are expecting you to be everything to them. And it's impossible to do that. Even if you're a working mother, even if you have two parents at home, it's impossible to be everything to your kids. We weren't created to be perfect, and there will be times you're going to make mistakes. There will be times that you're going to forget important events in your kid's life. There will be times when you can be somewhere because you have to be at work, especially for people who work in the places where you're on call and have to be somewhere. People in the military and things like that, and you have to be there. So we weren't created to be perfect. So give yourself some grace. I always say this: give yourself some grace. Don't think you're going to be like the perfect parent that's on Facebook, that have everything already together and their kids are fine and their house is fine and all that. Maybe they are fine. That's okay for them, but that's not you. And don't feel guilty, and don't compare your children to other children. Be happy with, with children you were blessed with. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to make them the best that it can be. You can do as much as you can, let them live to their fullest potential, but don't give yourself some grace. Okay? Breathe, breathe, breathe. All right. Eventually, things will fall into place. And these kids, especially if your kids are really good and see that you're trying your best. And all, when you go older, they start telling you, Mom, this is the things that I remember this day. I was so happy that you're here for this. And I wasn't expecting you to be there. And you came, and just little things, the core memory, meaning that the memory that is going to really stick with them, that is sticking about back in the mind for a long time. They're going to remember that. They're going to remember seeing you doing all you could do to keep them healthy and well, you and your partner, you and your husband, you and your what is a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. Okay, so go easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. You're not perfect. You weren't made to be perfect. You're doing the best that you can. And when it gets to the point that your anxiety and it's affecting your health, seek help. Okay. So I thank you for those of you who watched while I was talking this time. I say thank you. Thank you all for your love and support. For those of you who will be watching later, I say thank you. As you know, my regular show comes out on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So this is my Friday show, Friday Chat with Abby, and my Tuesday show comes on Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I'll see you all next Tuesday at 7 p.m. for my regular show. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate the love and support. Good night.